Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much, much more. I did it my way.
Cameron, thank you very much, man.
It.
You can't go wrong with Frank.
No, little Frank is great.
No, you can't go. I actually think I have all of his tracks, man, and different CD for all you younger guys, all CDs.
Yeah.
I don't have any of them that are streaming or whatever.
No
I purchased. I even have vinyl from
vinyls.
Frank, man.
I like that. I like old vinyls.
Yeah,
old
yeah.
I like this to other record
a little
player.
cracking and just like, no, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Welcome to the
Thank you.
construction life,
Thank you
man.
for having me. It's a pleasure.
Oh, dude, it's great to finally meet.
Yes,
we got a lot to talk about.
We do.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, that's good.
There's always so much to talk about when it comes to construction. And actually, when you're walking through the hallway coming into the studio, I'm excited about what's coming up. I'm going to slowly start interviewing tradespeople from all over the world and get insight.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Like, we have such... like, just construction in general is amazing. So many different people, so many different views. So to see it from other places, I think would be fantastic.
You know, there's going to be a common thread, right? You're almost going to be speaking to these people from different countries, almost different languages, broken English or whatever, and they're going to have the same problems, and they're going to
for sure.
And we might give them solutions; they'll give us solutions, and
definitely
tell us how half backwards that we're building. And
yeah, pretty much. Especially here, the Europeans. Like, I'm looking forward to hearing more in Europe and how they do it.
Yeah,
I think
I want to totally do that.
It's amazing what they're doing there.
So I'm looking forward to that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Custom Development Group.
Yes.
All right. How long you been around? 7 years.
7 years. Custom development for 2. I've been in the industry for 7 now. I branched off mid 2020, I'd say. So
you're young, man. How young are you?
30 in February.
You're young.
Yeah, youngish.
You're youngish, man. Website is customdevelopmentgroup.ca, and it's Cam at customdevelopmentgroup.com.
Yeah.
For the email?
Yeah. It's just the way
how it worked out.
Yeah, the way it worked
out.
On
IG, it's Custom Development Group.
Same thing.
And that's it. So before we get started, I want to just do a shout out to the boys at Techno Metal Post. I'm wearing their tee. I'm enjoying their tees. So anybody who wants to send me a tee, send me an extra large. Don't send me a medium. Otherwise, it's going to be the Christina Aguilera with a little bit of stomach showing. You know, I don't want to deal with that. And then a shout out to Rob there from Galaxy Plumbing, and some big things are happening on the show where I'm planning some roundtables coming up.
Oh, fantastic.
And we're going to have some pretty experienced tradespeople on the show of the same trade discussing that trade.
Amazing.
With a lot of interesting questions that I'll come up with, and we'll have a lot of fun. So just shout outs to this, but let's get started, Cam. Like, where do you want to begin, man? You're 30 years old. Where was the first swinging the hammer kind of thing?
You know what? I've been swinging for a long time. I have my uncle, my dad. They started in I'd say the late 80s, early 90s. They had pyramid drywall. So they did all commercial drywall, framing company.
Learn fast and hard.
They learned fast and hard, and I think that was what was the problem. It was too quick, too fast, too much. They grew very, very fast, and then just ultimately ended up splitting up after. So my uncle went on he was a taper by trade, went on to do some more taping and smaller projects, and then my dad actually went to manage Home Depots for 8 years.
Really?
So, yeah. Longer. 15. In 08 is when he left. He picked up renovations again.
Wow.
And that's when I started with him, actually. So I've been, for a long time, been doing this.
So lots of orange aprons at home.
Lots of orange aprons. I bet even people at Home Depot have seen me in the back when they used to have those days where you could go in, build little toolboxes, do little things. Like, I've had a bunch of stuff. So I've always loved working with my hands in any type of capacity. So
I'm just curious, which is your favorite Home Depot to go to?
Oh, it's sticky.
Because they're all different.
They're all a little different. They're all a little different.
Depends on who's running the show there, but they're all slightly a little different.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering where the good ones, the great ones are.
You know what? I like one over here at Dundas, Winston Churchill.
That's a good one.
That's a good. You know what? It's clean. You can find what you need. The associates are usually around, and you can get what you need. So
you get to the Queensway one, the North Shore one, and all of a sudden everybody parks in the loading area.
Exactly.
I don't think they realize there's a parking lot.
I don't think so. And I like contact GC's trade, and everyone just pulls up right in front. I get it because we need to load, right?
That's it.
So
then they'll bump into friends and they'll be talking, and all of a sudden it's like, man, are you loading or are you parking?
I know. I got 30 sheets in my truck. Like, I need to do something here, right?
Insane.
I know.
So 7 years ago, but
7
2 years
years
on
in
your
the
own.
industry, 2 years on my own. So I wanted to. I mean, my uncle, my dad, everybody in the family, they're happy where they are. They're happy with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take it and grow and build the business, be a true development company.
So 28 years old, going on your own, how did that feel?
Well, COVID had just kind of started.
Yeah.
So it was a little
And I'm respectful
terrifying.
for a lot of you guys that made a big step
Yeah.
at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, well, so what I initially decided, COVID wasn't really on my mind because it wasn't there yet, late 2019. So 2020, when I did start branching off for only like substantial renovations, multi-room additions, new builds, things like that, my fiance and I just bought a house. So now I was having a new
you just kept
business
on
with a
adding
new-
more
I just kept
and
going.
more, man.
So it just kept going and going and going. And we decided to renovate our house. It started with a bathroom reno, turned into bathroom kitchen, turned into the whole thing. So it was a little nerve-wracking. It was a little scary for
doubt.
sure.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And then trying to figure out what am I going to do, what's essential, what's non-essential. And so it was a lot. It was a lot to manage. But you know what? The past couple of years have been very good to me. My clients have been very good. I can't complain at all. So trying to keep that rolling.
So you just focused on the business, focused on communicating with the clients.
Exactly. Focused on, it's been word of mouth so far for projects of that size, just really, maintaining the relationships with those clients, making sure I kept them happy, getting the jobs done. I did a medical facility because, again, through COVID, at least I knew they couldn't shut me down.
Of course.
As long as we could continue working through there. And I had a few exterior projects that I was doing, a pool house that I built. So, trying to stay
You're
outdoors.
just shifting all kinds of gears, man. Like, how do you do that? I can't do it as quickly as most guys, man.
You know what? Like, I like to submerge myself in different types of projects. I like to learn new things and different things. Like the medical facility, it was a lot. It was different to do. It was a 24-hour surveillance. It was 24 hours run for people with mental disabilities, mainly schizophrenia.
All right.
So we had to do a 5-phase project. And that was very interesting because each phase we had to, help the people that were in there and see what their needs were. And they're living there full time.
So you're just doing sections at a time?
We were doing sections at a time, yeah.
Okay.
So first it was a few washrooms we were renovating for them. And then it was taking apart, like a whole left side of the building and revamping their bedroom spaces and giving them kind of more space. And,
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so that was actually a very cool project to be a part of.
So that's not messing around, man. Like it's all...
No, it wasn't. And you know what? I just submerged myself fully in it. I said, I'm here for you guys, and let's do what we can for you.
So have you built like the business strictly as trades or sub trades or
trades? So right now it's myself. Everyone asks, what's your team? And it's me. And you know
you're
what?
not
Like,
stressed, man. Like you don't.
Yeah,
like,
constantly. But you
Wow.
know what? You try to go through it. I can't say, like with my uncle and with my dad. Like whenever I need people around, they obviously help me, and they've been mentors for me, obviously. And it's still, I can always ask them questions, and always. But I wanted to branch off and do these things on my own to show that I could do it, even to myself, for anybody else. And
Do they teach you old school way of teaching, or are they kind of a little bit of consciousness for the new school way of teaching?
a little bit of both,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. They respect the new school, but what's worked for so long, like let's keep it working, let's keep it
ain't
going.
broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But they've always respected me in at least, let me, especially in my early years, try the new ways. If it fails, at least you know why. Right. So I've always respected that from them, and they've always respected that out of me. So it's been a good working relationship, because I know sometimes family can be difficult to work with.
Yeah, that's like a double edge. I never, throughout
Yeah.
my whole life, my brothers are always asking me to build things and tinker around,
Yeah.
and my sisters as well. And I just, I don't like working for them. It's just, they don't get it. I think they watch just too much of the 4-letter word, and then they just think that that's reality, and it's not.
Exactly.
So then you're trying to, I'm the professional here. I'll tell you exactly how it should be done.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. But I guess with family and your dad and uncle with so much experience,
Yeah.
they put you in your place, kind of thing.
In times they do, but you know what? In other times when the new school and has worked, then it's like, oh, okay, like, there is new. Because social media and Instagram and everything, like I'm always researching. If there's something new, if I don't know, I'll do the research and learn about it. And, they were too, but now it's just what works. So keep
Have you
rolling.
been to IBS or I guess Construct Canada, any of the shows? And this is all pre-COVID, I guess, right?
No, nothing yet. For that, so when I first started working, it was about 5 years before I branched out, and I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could about all the trades, because being a young guy and coming in,
Smart.
I couldn't tell
That's
somebody,
very, very smart.
The plumbers what they're doing, or somebody else, or and questioning them, and I need to know if I was getting cut short or
Exactly.
right. It's like it's projects that come to me, I fully take them on. If it's your home, it's now my home. These are my projects. These are my problems. Let me do it. Let me handle it. So I need to have tradespeople that I can trust and that I can work with. So that was very important to me to learn all the different trades, well, as much as I could anyways. Obviously not licensed. And
No, but still, I mean, it's good to get a grasp of all of that
Yeah,
stuff,
for
right?
sure.
So then you get a better idea of what. Then at least you can communicate.
Yeah, it makes communication a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
If I come, hey, why didn't you do something this way or that way? And it's like, listen, if it's wrong, explain it to me why I'm wrong. But if it does work out, then you know what, walk me through why you didn't. So at least I know why when I can go back to a client exactly what's going on at all times.
I used to do that in the beginning, and when you meet the new trades and you want to work with them,
Yeah.
first you meet a new trade, you get along,
Yeah.
because you're just like person to person, you get along. But then now you start talking about your craft, your profession. And then you ask them, just the way you've just said right now, why do you do it this way? And then you start questioning it. And it's not that you're insulting them. You're just questioning why you decided to go that way.
Yeah, like I would never insult somebody. Listen, everybody in the industry works hard. Like it's not
Yeah.
to be insulted. And one is just for me for learning. So if I thought it was one way and you know it's not, then I'm getting another way. There's tile setters. Everyone has their own little things and why they like it. So when I was learning different tile setters, different people, I'd ask why you do it this way, why you do it this way, and then I kind of just came up with everything and found ways that I like to do.
You made it your way.
Made it my own.
And it's true. It totally. And I guess I want to ask you, you're relatively young in the industry, but so then, and this industry is driven by the young. Like as much as like we have the old school guys out there, and you got me and this age group, and then that age group that's on its way out. You guys are leading the pack. You guys are coming in and changing the industry, and you're literally changing the face of the industry. What's the overall vibe that you see when you kind of look at that?
I find it's a little bit of a mix with guys of my generation. I got guys that they love it. They're like me. They're hitting the ground running. They want to put the best foot forward. And then I see a little bit of the other side too, where they don't really care, and there's kind of a lack of respect across dealing with the other tradespeople. And so I'm finding that a little bit hard. So I guess I'll be a little bit more picky and choosy with who I'm working with. Yeah.
So, I mean, like when you're looking, I guess it's like as a job for yourself, and I do this as well too. You kind of meet a client and you've got like your red flag, I guess, trigger words or trigger actions. But then we also have the same thing for the tradespeople.
Yeah.
And there's trigger words and trigger actions. And it's just like, I've had guys come up to my face and just say, listen, man, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never done it that way. There's no reason to do it that way. And I just look at them, I go, well, we're not going to get along.
Yeah.
And I'd leave it at that. There's no reason to go forward at that point. Yeah. If you're set in your ways, great. It's wonderful. Keep on doing that, but you're not going to be a part of what I'm trying to build.
Exactly. Right. And I think that's why working with my family, and they've allowed that. They've allowed to adapt, right? So in the older trades that I do deal with, we have a good dialogue. Not old people, right? Like we have a good dialogue throughout. Again, why are you doing it this way? Why are we doing it that way? A little bit of experience, a little bit of new school. So that's good. I've tried being just myself. I rely heavily on all my trades of any age. So I need to have open dialogue with them all the time. And because we need to trust each other, respect each other. If I can't be there for a little bit, I need to know I can leave guys. So I think just in any age, I'm finding it's just, you need to just respect it, guys. I mean, I know you say it all the time on the show, respect the next trade, respect the trades. And I've taken that, and I've really tried working with that, especially as I'm growing, because you do, right? If there's multiple trades in a house or something like that, commercial space, you need to respect it. So
there's not a single person that can do the entire job.
No.
I did, like, this is not Noah's Ark. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and I'm sure you had help from the animals too, right? So it's just, you need help. You need the team. You need construction. You need other tradespeople. And I'm always impressed with the level of skill that comes from every trade. So you might think it's just drywall. You might think it's just framing. You might think it's all this stuff. But there is a difference between a person that is at that specific trade and they've perfected it, and you're respectful of that. Yeah. Right. So it just, it's kind of funny that I always looked at the older generation, like you can see the weatheredness in them, and they've lasted this long in this industry. And I'm talking like no different than you getting started in your teens, and most people in this industry, they started in their teens, and now they're in their 60s and older. And all of a sudden you can see that weatherness in their face. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out, are we going to see that same weatherness in this younger generation? Are they going to make it for the long haul?
If you manage yourself properly, I think so.
I agree.
If you don't extend yourself too far, like, hey, listen, I'd love to say me on my own, I could do 10, 12 jobs at a time. I know I can't, right? I can do 2 major ones at a time, maybe 3, and then I can get help project managing, site supervising. But if you manage yourself properly, I think like anything else, you can, and taking care of yourself, then you can go for the long run for sure.
Let me ask you, Cam, have you sat down and thought about your construction path? Like you finally decided to go on your own. You're on your own. You're getting the jobs. You made it through COVID, right? Which is great. And now have you started to think about, okay, so what's the next 5? What's the next 10?
Yeah.
What's the exit? When am I going to get off the tools? Like, have you thought about all those things?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you have to in order to grow, right? So there's a period of where, when I'm in jobs, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. But in the interim, and you have to always have that plan, right, to grow. Like I know for myself, coming up in the new year, I want to start purchasing properties and renovating properties, bought, renovated, designed, everything through custom development, and then selling them off that way. Ultimately, I do call myself custom development. It's all completely custom, but I do want to get into larger developments, smaller subdivisions and things of that nature.
That's a whole other world.
That's a completely different world.
That's like a big paper world.
It is. You know what? I love the large luxury in the custom as well. So buying out bigger properties, putting in these bigger homes, 7,000, 10,000 square foot homes. So I guess in the shorter term, 3 to 5 years, it's more buying properties and
that's ambitious, man. Honestly, it's very, very ambitious.
I figure aim high, right? If you aim high and you get half the way, then at least it's a
lot further than where you were. No, I totally agree, man. So it's great. It's just, I guess at that point, you're probably thinking, who should I be keeping close to me to always reach out and ask a question.
Exactly.
Right? Because we don't know everything. There's no way that we know everything. We never will.
No, we don't.
So we got to speak to the elders. Definitely. But also, in all respect, got to speak to the youngins, man. I'm always impressed by the young generation coming in. They've always got some interesting new ideas that actually are good ideas.
Oh, for sure.
So it's valuable to do that. I want to ask you, is there a particular construction bone that's just sticking at you? That's something that's just constantly being coming up, and then you're like going, okay, this is enough. Construction needs to change this.
That's more maybe like a frustration. Maybe it's on a few projects. Like I said, I got a great team of people, but always trying to find new trades. I'm kind of getting frustrated with, we'll call or we'll show up at this time and we'll give you a price, and it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, still don't have the price. Reaching out every week, hey, do you mind? Like I know everybody's busy, but you know what? Just respect me enough to say, hey, if you can't do it. If you can't do it, great, fine. Hopefully in the future we can work together. I got to go elsewhere for certain projects or certain portions. So I think really right now that's about it. I mean, through COVID, obviously everyone was hiding behind, I think, that excuse a lot of the supply chain issues and things, which I think are slowly starting to come back. So that's
greed.
That's okay. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, right now, material wise, I guess it's still reasonable, relatively speaking.
Relatively reasonable.
I mean, diesel fuel is a joke.
Oh yeah, I fill up my truck. I was just looking at it. Like I was just doing a project in Muskoka and Bracebridge, and like just seeing the gas, just one trip there, one trip back, one trip.
You've seen that needle move as if it's like a tack.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
There's no reason to be moving that fast.
I know.
It's painful, man. And then majority of people in construction are diesel, man.
Yeah, I know.
Diesel based.
I probably should be doing diesel, maybe, but. No.
Still, oh yeah. So, I mean, you're driving around a Ram, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's just like, it's still expensive.
It is. It's expensive. I try to not press my foot on the gas a little bit too hard. Let's just coast through. Let's just merge softly.
So basically, fuel prices are making us better drivers.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Maybe. I think so.
Energy efficient drivers.
I think so, yeah.
That's all it is.
The kilometers per liter actually is going down, which I guess is good. So.
And then you got the guys who are going all electric, I guess, and some of the lightnings are showing up. And someone sent me a picture of a Matchbox Cybertruck.
Really?
And I said, that's interesting. The Matchbox showed up before the actual truck.
Yeah.
I guess in time for the holidays.
Maybe. I don't know how I feel about the whole electric pickup anyways. Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know if it's going to work for Canadian winters.
I agree.
I don't think I don't know, man. I don't think it could handle a construction site in a Canadian winter.
Yeah. You know, we deal with a ton of elements here, right? More so than some
pulling,
other places, so.
like tugging, loading, lifting, then the cold. And we're not even talking about the middle of this country, which like gets bitterness in Winnipeg and all kinds of like, it's just like minus 40. Yeah. Like I guess there'd be a lot of phone calls going in. The truck's not starting.
I'd hope not for the guys at 5, 6 in the morning. I mean, I'd hope their truck starts for them. That's for sure. But I mean,
a diesel, just let the glow and just let it warm up, and that's it.
Yeah.
No. So I mean, I wanted to try to get a better idea of where you're headed and where are you getting all this knowledge from? Like, where are you Are you just basically going to your circle and just basically picking whatever you can?
My circle, yeah, my
That's
circle. I'm, I, like I said, reach out to family, a lot of different knowledge, just researching different things. Reach out to, yourself. Even when I reached out to you and Nickel Contracting, I reached out to him, Ty as
great.
well.
Yeah.
I reached out right away. Email me back, same there. Message me back, same thing. If I ever want to reach out, and just putting myself or trying to put myself in circles with gentlemen and with people that. That I see, that I've seen what they've done, and I want to either mimic what they do and take parts of what they do and grow it from there. So, our industry, for the most part, everybody that I've spoken to, very receptive to that. Anytime you reach out to somebody, and,
I totally
can
agree.
I pick your brain? Can I do this? Can I do that? Because they want to teach and they want to give it to, I think, the next generation or different people coming up, and myself included. Even when there's younger people and guys that are coming up, like, I'm more than happy with the knowledge that I have to reach out and to talk with people.
I think there's a small percentage of old school, I guess, trades that are upset at the teaching part of this industry. Because there is I don't care who, you get into construction, you're starting out brand new, you get into it and you've been in it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. At some point, you are going to eventually just be a teacher and you're going to share everything that you experienced.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be really interesting to see yourself get to that age when you're like 20 years from now and you've gone through the developments and subdivisions and you've done all this other stuff. I think you're going to embrace teaching.
Yeah.
There's people that aren't even, as I don't want to make you feel old or anything like that, but you start experiencing that when you start getting a little bit older, people that are not even born yet.
Yeah.
And they're going to be asking you questions about what you went through. And I think just naturally, evolution-wise, as a tradesperson, you become a teacher.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
I'm looking forward to it. And I think there's a way of doing it. I think like the old school, the very old school, like my grandfathers or to fathers and things, there was a different way that they were taught between their generations, where it's like now my fathers to us or even me to the next, more of a respect and less of like a yelling or why are you doing it this way or why are you doing it that way? Because I don't think that really helps people, right? Like, that's not a great way to learn. Hey, sometimes people just need like a good shake. Like, what's going on? Like, think about what you're doing. But I think it's just a little bit more calm. And I've noticed you have to be a little more patient. Patience, I think, is key, especially in today's day and age of everything. Patience is definitely key.
I go back to when I see well-skilled tradespeople, it must be intimidating for a younger person trying to get into the industry, seeing this going, there's no way I could handle a saw, handle a hammer, handle anything the way they're handling it. But they got to also remember they weren't like that. I remember my very first time as a kid, I was actually, when I did my first mudding of anything, like, you needed 60 grit to sand down what was done, right? Like, this is brutal. Like, what's the word feathering? I don't even know what that means, right? It's like, it was like globs, almost like you're thinking you're spackling things at that point. And I'm like, that's not how it's done. But then when you see a proper mudder and a taper and you see everybody gets there.
You do.
You just have to find the right teachers for yourself.
Time and patience, teaching time and patience, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially mudding, taping, like, that's, the guys that can do it, they're amazing. Like,
It's good.
amazing.
It's true. I want to ask you, tool brand. I have no idea. I can't even peg you. So
Tools?
what color are we talking here?
Now I've geared more towards the red than, when I started, it was.
Why red?
You know what? I like that, like, with the different battery size, they just have a bunch of different tools that are good. As you know, GC, when I started doing a lot of the work and I was doing a lot of the work on my own, I needed a lot of different tools for a lot of different things. Also, when I first started, it was the rigid brand because that's just what I could afford. Then the next one, I went
same boat,
right?
Cam,
Yeah, like that's
boat.
the way it started.
That's how I started.
I still have some of the tool. Like I have the tools that
I don't
goes
have
on.
any. I got rid of all that.
Yeah, you know what? Like whatever works. We're old flashlights, whatever, in the attic. If I
Oh
lose
wait,
it.
I'm sorry. I lied. I have a vacuum.
Yeah, the vacuums.
The
are great.
vacuum is
The
like
vacuums
bulletproof. It'll never die.
Yeah.
It has a 2-inch hose.
Yeah, I love it.
It sucks everything.
I know.
love
They're
it.
fantastic.
It's not HEPA.
Yeah.
It doesn't do the drum beat.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
still works through everything. man.
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
don't have a problem with that vacuum
Yeah.
from Rigid.
Yeah, so you know what I've been buying new has tend to be Milwaukee, but
Yeah.
some DeWalt stuff still in Milwaukee, and yeah, that's about it.
But are you like me when
Everything.
all the trades? There are certain colors for certain trades.
There's certain for certain, like every plumber I think I've ever dealt with has always had Milwaukee. Every plumber, that's it. But you know what? They have the tools that are geared to it. They have like that ABS, like the pipe cutting tool that works for it. They have, so that's fine. Like
It's
I get
them.
it.
They cater to them.
Exactly, right? So use the tools that helps your job be a little easier, right? It's hard enough, dirty enough, make it a little bit easier, clean it, right? So why not?
Let's talk a little bit of history here. The first permanent structures made by non-natives in Canada were made in, any idea what year?
No idea. I wish I could like pretend.
1605.
16.
Permanent structures, man. Nova Scotia, French artisans.
Wow.
This prompted the first water mill to be built in Lacqui River in 1607. So 2 years after that. They're not politicians, eh? That was fast. For 200 years, nearly all structures used by the French in Canada were entirely wood. Yeah, because as soon as they arrived,
right?
trees, knock them all down. All the Italian and Portuguese didn't show up for concrete yet. Masonry was only used for important buildings. So here you go. Now the Italians and the Portuguese showed up, and the Irish too. Churches and military fortifications, or whatever. The first public works in Canada were a series of small locks at the rapids. I can't even pronounce Solange section of St. Laurent River. Right. Which is a famous river here in Canada. Everybody who's not familiar with Canada, built in 1779 by the British military engineers. Wow. Royal Engineers. The first major public work was the Granville Canal on Ottawa River. I've actually been there. It was built by the British Royal Staff Corps, and as part of the alternative military route from Montreal to Kingston. It took nearly 20 years to complete. So that was politician-driven. 1819 and 1834. Little bit of history, man. Okay. So what do we want to talk about? Is your fiance in construction or no?
No, she's not.
But she's got a perspective of construction?
She does now, since we renovated our home.
Yeah. Oh, so she's got a realistic perspective.
She does. She does.
Okay.
Now, when we started, maybe not so much on the realistic side, but definitely going through it.
She just thought it would happen faster?
A little bit faster, but you know, I mean, I did it all on my own. We bought the house 10, 12 weeks, gutted the whole thing. I came my own. Okay, I've had help. My father obviously helped me a lot. My father-in-law, whoever could come in, just give me a hand. With
fully gut the whole thing?
Fully.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a backsplit here, just in Mississauga, and nice. So when we decided to just do our kitchen, we needed hardwood throughout. So I was like, okay, fine, fair. We'll do the hardwood throughout the main floor and change the trim and do the kitchen and everything. But you can see the second floor because it's only 5 steps up.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not going to stand in 2021 at the time and look at 1968 up there. So I'm like, let's just do it. Because you know what? When I renovate for clients too and moving things from room to room and then trying to, do the hardwood here, now move it over there and do that and whatnot. I'm like, I don't want to do this in my own house because I'm the one that has to move the stuff as well. So I figured, let's just do it. My in-laws were fantastic enough. They let us move back in with them while we were renovating, and that's it.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it was. You know what? It was good. They were great. They were over helping all the time. Yeah, they were great. Yeah.
How long did the whole project take?
For us to move in, about 10 weeks.
That's pretty fast.
It was quick. I had everybody that I could call, my plumber buddies, electricians, parents, in-laws, just everyone. And I had them all paint. Because for me, painting, by the time I get to that stage...
You don't like it or you don't want it?
Not that I don't like it. It's just when I've been looking at the same walls for all that, now to go and do, coat a primer, then first coat, second coat, touch-ups, trim. I'm just like, I need to look at something else. That's normally when I'll take over the tile or I gotta go somewhere else. Yeah, exactly.
What were some of the things, I'm assuming that you made the same mistakes that you probably see your clients make, and you're like, Jesus, I'm the GC and I'm making the same mistake that I keep telling clients not to make?
A few. I think we were rushed. I mean, again, it was kind of like COVID. It was, what can we get our hands on? When can we do it? It was moving in period. So it was a little bit of supply chain stuff. I think that's it. I mean, we did take time. We actually thought of what we wanted. I mean, obviously there was a budget there, being our first home and everything too. So I had to work within the budget. But I think just taking a little bit more time throughout the process, just to really hone it and really perfect it. I think certain things only got 80% of my attention when I like to give 100% in every aspect, because I mean, let's face it, you're sitting there at the end of the day or watching TV, okay, should have fixed that up a little bit, or that crown molding a little bit over there, stuff like that. So definitely in the future, just a little bit more time is going to be taken. If it's another week that it takes or whatever it's going to be, then that's what it'll be.
Was there a lot of prep time?
Not so much. We closed in about 60 days.
We need to get in here, right?
Yeah, we get in here. I think I finished up a project the first week we had possession. Then I started the second week, just myself, a couple friends demoing it, and just get moving. And then as we were going, I had Lauren. I had to just start choosing what you want, start choosing some finishes. And
then that became the challenge, because not everybody had everything or getting everything.
Exactly. Well, that's why I sent her some of the suppliers that I tend to work with. So I was like, just go there. They'll help you out. I think not a mistake. Something that I let her do was choose the tile. So she came back with a nice big 24 by 48 inch large format. And I was just like, and I was already, that was one of the last things I did.
Your back
the project.
and knees are creaking.
Yeah, exactly. Going up, we have some cathedral ceiling, so going up 12 feet with the tiles there was a little bit much. But you do it, and I look at it, and we love it. It's our home.
Did she get full samples and try to get it into the car or bring it back?
No. She brought me samples that were like 4 inch.
I know.
4 inch.
You put cups on.
Exactly. They're coasters. Honestly, we have coasters now. And then I look at the invoice and I see the size.
24 by 48 porcelain.
You know what though? Best decision, because the nice tall veins.
It looks like a
ceilings,
slab.
It looks beautiful. So she did it that day. I was kind of like head down, but you know what? When I go in there, we look at everything.
And you did all the tiling yourself?
Yeah, I did everything myself.
Wow.
Other than I have a good buddy who's a plumber and a cousin who's an electrician, and they came and they helped me do that stuff. But myself, and again, my father-in-law helped me with the hardwood and things like that. So it was a team effort. Everybody helped for sure.
And now everybody's happy. Like family came by.
Everybody's oh yeah. They love it. They love it. Yeah.
There's no well, we should have did this. We should have that. A
No,
little bit,
no.
maybe a little tiny.
Well,
bit.
but myself, I think it's just in me because like us, we're always looking in something you can do, something you can change, right? But I mean, when you're just trying to do stuff, get it done, and looks great. But yeah, of course, if I was going to change something,
it's interesting. It's always interesting to see a GC or a trade reno their own place.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because they push it just a little bit, and then you wonder, man, that's just insane. Why are you doing that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're doing it because I've got the skill and I could do it.
Exactly. And maybe certain things, like there's a lot of things that I'd like to do in clients' homes that, maybe necessarily whether it's budget or they just don't like it, that, then I'm like, okay, now this is my home. So now this is what we can kind of do, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I liked about finally working on my own home and seeing it from like the homeowner's perspective as well, right? In dealing with myself and how I am and in choosing. Because for somebody else, it's easy to give, okay, this is I kind of like how this works. But when I got to look at it every day, now you take that extra second kind of thing. So,
but then you take a photo and you show it to a future client, and then they ask you about it.
Yeah.
And you start the conversation about numbers.
Yeah.
Then they say, it's not a bad idea. Maybe we do that.
Yeah.
So you get. I guess you paid it for it.
That's the thing. Yeah, you
happens.
paid for it. Like I did a concrete countertop, and I poured one I created an ensuite for Lauren, and and I show clients the concrete countertop, and they love it, right? And it's something I like to do because it was different. Build the form, you pour the concrete, a vessel sink.
Have a leak.
Yeah.
First time, second time. I always hear anybody I've spoken to that's ever done epoxy or concrete.
Yeah.
That word leak comes up at some point.
Really? I haven't. So don't.
You
don't
haven't?
put that
I'm
on
not
me.
trying to jinx it. I'm just saying, man.
No, but it was just the top. That's the thing. It was no
Okay.
sink. It was not had the vessel sink on top,
Got it.
and then like the faucet that comes out of the wall into it.
So now you're ready for the leak. That's what
Yeah.
No, it's
just holds up
challenging.
there,
It's
good.
challenging, man,
Yeah.
at that point. So
It
no,
is.
I totally like that, and I encourage tradespeople. They should be doing that.
Yeah.
Just test it out on your own place, man. So
Definitely.
figure out the
Definitely.
ups and downs, man, so that you can build something proper and then show it to a client.
For sure. I think you should for sure.
I want to ask you, and I know it's not the best topic to discuss, but have you ever had a bad client?
One.
Just one.
Just one.
And then was it handled well, or do you look back on it and you think I could have handled it differently, or could it went differently?
I mean, we did everything that we had to do, and ultimately they still held some money back for us. And it's a punch list. It was the end of the day. They had moved back in. We walk through it. We look at everything, and then people, they're going to come in and listen. I honor everything. Work has to be 100%. You have to be happy with it. They found a couple things they didn't like. Just a couple grout spots had to be filled. Couple nail pops, like average stuff, and their hood vent because COVID wasn't in yet, so it couldn't be installed. They held back a substantial amount of money. Everything got finished. Everything got fixed. Still decided to hold it back. So it was unfortunate, but at a certain time it was, and am I going to put time and effort into this, or, hey, that was a lesson learned. And you know what, actually it was funny because, not funny, but it had happened to me about a month before podcast. I remember you guys were talking about it, and it was money for extras. So always get the money for extras beforehand. So hey, I'm new.
Listen,
I'm
I've made that
learning,
mistake
I've done
where I
it.
left it at the end, and now it's a bunch of clowns coming out of a car.
Exactly.
And you're, yeah.
And that's what that was. It was basically the money for the extras, and that we just didn't get by the end. So
It's a wicked game. I don't know if they do it on purpose or it's just kind of an inconvenience at that point where you get to the end, you've done all the hard labor, you've done the sweat equity, and all of a sudden, oh, remember when we did that and there was a charge for that? Oh, I don't remember having that. And then there was no paper trail.
I mean, it sucked. But then few days, everything was fixed. They were completely happy with it, and then still nothing. And throughout the whole project, there was nothing that even hinted towards it, right? They loved everything. It was a main floor reno. We took out the wall, a big support beam, nice big island, and like they loved it. They loved everything. So it kind of caught me off guard too, because there was like a respect there. We were, just vibing well. The whole project was going very smooth until just right at the end. And so, yeah, like I said, lesson learned.
It's a very valuable lesson. And I don't want to discourage anybody that's getting into the industry or is in the industry and they haven't and they've knocked on wood or what have you. It's going to happen, man.
I think it happens in every industry, happens everywhere.
Yes.
I just find it happens to us a little bit more for some reason. Like, you're not going to go to the grocery store and like hassle the cashier of, well, why are these bananas so expensive or something like that, right? So it's like, the price, what's happening. If it's
custom, it's that word custom.
It is.
That's the problem, is that they either use it for them or against them.
Yeah.
Where it's like you sell yourself that you can create custom work.
Yeah.
And how do you put a dollar value to custom work? So you finally figure out what it costs based on your business, based on the skills, based on the material, and this is what it costs. But then they look at it and they go, well, it's custom, so it shouldn't really cost that. Or we think it should cost this.
Yeah.
But their number's lower than your number.
Almost always it's lower.
Yeah.
And custom is timing. Like when you're doing something custom, it's not a cookie cutter. It's not like, it's purely timing of everything. And that's what costs, right? It's in the fine details when you go with something completely custom, which is what I like to do and is what I like to give, is something that's completely custom in those fine details, and you see everything and done right, not done halfway. So.
It's funny because I'm like, you talk about 10, 12 weeks, but my own place, it's more like 10 to 12 years. It's like I got to do one little detail at a time, and I got to work my way from the top down and all this other stuff. But I had a couple of trade friends of mine come by, and they stopped by, and they're rolling their heads. They're like, how old is this now? And I'm like, about 10, 11 years or something.
Yeah.
I go, you're an idiot. Like, it's just like, why you go this far? And I was like, what, do you not like it? Or it goes, yeah, it's good, but you're an idiot.
Yeah. No, it's true. It takes like 10, 12 weeks. I should have said it was move-in ready at 10 to 12 weeks. There was still
some dust film.
Yeah, floors were done, trim, paint, tiles, bathrooms was done.
That's pretty close to done.
It was okay. Install a barn door here, closet door there, do things like that, stuff like that. But you know what? In retrospect, like you were saying for yourself, more time is better. Focus on just making yourself comfortable, and then take your time on those little spaces, because then I think ultimately you'll just enjoy it more too. So,
the really scary thing is that when you start doing, and I go back to your own place, right? Because I think that every tradesperson should really be milking their skills for themselves. For sure. Like, we do it for our clients all the time, but do it for yourself and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? Totally push the envelope and enjoy it. The only problem is that sometimes you're working on ideas that have already come and gone through your head. You're like, when you had that idea first, and all of a sudden you start building, and you're like, man, I'm kind of done with this idea now. I don't even want to finish the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
It puts us in an awkward position.
Yeah, it's like my big shiplap wall that I have. And it's right, like my TV, and it's shiplap right behind it. Like, when I had this idea, I loved it, right? And
now everybody has shiplap.
Now it's all shit. Like, I love this, like stuff like this, right? Like, I love that. I love the wood.
I'm sure in a few years I might get tired. I don't know.
Oh yeah, but who knows? But you know what? That's the best thing about what we can do is, have some time, take it down, and kind of redo it. Maybe budget, sure, but hey, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where are all your trades coming from? Are they all your age group and they're all from this area, or are you finding them through IG?
It's a mixture. You know what? A lot of my trades that I found or that I was using was through my dad, my uncle, guys like that, because it's guys that they've built good relationships with. Perfect. And they're still in the industry. They saw me growing up with it. They're well respected. They work well with us. And then as my age, and because when I started, a lot of guys weren't even really licensed in school, so I was trying to use their companies and building relationships with their bosses and stuff. But now that a lot of guys are licensed, it's a fine mix of guys that are my age and guys that are a little bit older. And I think that works out well because you get best of both perspectives as well, right?
So I mean, as for license, I'm not dismissing or anything like that. Like, I mean, everybody's got a driver's license, and see how well that works out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Every single day, right? So, and I've seen like people who don't have licenses and they do amazing work, and I've seen people who have licenses and they just are fed up with the industry and they just don't care.
For sure,
they're punching the clock.
Yeah,
right, which is fine. So it doesn't. I think it's whatever you do that day.
Yeah.
You go in and your attitude and who you are and how you do the work. And if you care, you want to stay a little bit longer. If you want to make an effort to go around instead of this or it's just, I think it's just that whatever you do that day.
It is. But from friends, like I can't have them doing a lot of work because you want license. Like I want licensed plumbers, I
Yeah.
want licensed electricians, right? For
sure.
jobs like you need that stuff, right? So
Well, the big three, electrical, HVAC,
electrical,
and
HVAC.
plumbing.
That's why I always had to be licensed. So
Yeah.
I couldn't use a lot of the young guys until I knew they were licensed, until I knew like they were taken care of as well. Right at the end of the day, it's still my name and my business. So I got to make sure. And then a lot of guys are, you know what, from GTA, Mississauga, the Oakville area. I mean, I'm doing the project in Bracebridge. Now I'm trying to build out some
That's a
clients
bit
out
of a
there.
drive, man.
It was a bit of a drive. We were staying there. So it was a 5-month project.
Okay, so that's not that bad.
Yeah, it was an addition we added onto a cottage, 1,000 square feet that we did. So I found a mixture of both. I bring guys from the GTA and I tried to find some guys from up there. So
How are you handling? You're doing all the sales yourself,
yeah, I do pretty much everything myself at the moment.
dude, man. Like it's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
You're not ready to let somebody else in and then kind of take the reins a little bit, or give you some more time.
in selling projects.
Yeah.
No, I am. Just to the point where I need to make sure like the business can also handle that, and the business end, and I can, take care of somebody who's coming on. When I do a couple projects at a time, then I can have site supervisors. That's normally what I'll bring in, like I was saying, my father, stuff like that, and help me out. But I got to respect other people too. Is I don't like to just hire somebody part time, or I don't like to do something part time. I want to make sure I know I can take care of them in the long run too. We've all got lives. We've all got
big, go
trucks
home.
and gas.
Exactly,
And, what I
yeah.
mean? So now I think within this year is when I'm going to start looking at being able to hire on and getting more teams coming on. So I won't have to do as much of the legwork anyways.
I shared a tweet. I think it was earlier this week or could have been last week. It just tweets come to me whenever they come to me, and then I share it, right? And there was something that I saw, and I paid attention to it because he was talking about how an entrepreneur is somebody that can actually build a business and leave it alone and disappear from it, and it'll operate on its own. If you have to be there every single day, you're not an entrepreneur. You're self-employed now. There's a huge difference between the two. And I think a lot of people in construction, they think they're entrepreneurs, but they're actually self-employed.
You're right. And it was funny because I read it, I saw that, and that's how I explain the business to people. That's right now, I was self-employed. I want to build a business 10 years, 15 years from now. When I don't want to do this anymore, the name is there. Whether it's me or family or somebody else doing it, the name can still be there. That's the goal. So it was odd that you had posted that and you had said that, because that's how I'm doing it.
We're all going through it.
Yeah.
Every day.
Right. And you know what? That's great. If you want to be self-employed and you just want to work and work throughout your career, and when you're done, that's fantastic too, right? Like there's a ton of people who do that, and you can still make a lot of money and you can still live a great life doing that too. It's just, I want to try.
I don't think that you'll stop working.
No.
I don't think you'll get to the point where if you get into this business and you love it and you get hooked in and you're passionate about it, I think your direction is just going to change. You're going to probably have fewer clients. You're going to have specific clients. If not, you're going to shift towards very close friends that'll, you'll want to build for, or associates that you meet through your life, and you'll build for them, and they'll respect your skill. They'll respect what you build as a business.
Yeah.
That's where your direction is going to go. I totally see that happening.
Yeah. That's the goal. That's the plan of even now just advertising in, substantial renovations, multi-room renos, additions, the newer builds, things like that. Because when I started, it was just washrooms, en suites, small things that I could manage myself, right?
I started
it's
in a
everywhere.
powder
It's-
room.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I
exactly.
started, powder
Yeah.
room.
And I did all the work, and I was on all the tools.
Yes.
Right. And it's when I knew I wanted to build the business, I knew that I had to slowly get away from the tools a little bit, because I couldn't be holding a 4x8 sheet above my head and answering the cell phone because I need to order, materials for the net. So it was just a lot. I'm like, I either need to do some or the other, and that's it. So
You're going to get to the point where you finally get off the tools. You're not doing it anymore. You're running a business. You're trying to make that business that someone else can take over for you, and then you're still the face of it or whatever, and you do that. And you're gonna start doing work for yourself.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're gonna make a stupid mistake that you can't believe that you just did, right? And the first thing you're gonna do is look over your shoulders and you'll be like, okay, no phone was recording that.
Yeah, thank God.
Nobody saw that.
Yeah.
It never happened, man.
Yeah. I know. It's even now, if I'm not on tools or a while and I try to go back to a little bit of rust,
there's a lot of rust,
Yeah,
man.
it's a little bit of rust. That's okay. It's like dust off the old tool belt, and I had it hanging in the garage, and I found little mice living in it.
I know.
All right, time for a new one.
Just
Fine,
get
it's
the
been a
compressor
while.
and just shoot it and clean it up. That's it.
It's
Put it
been
back
a while.
on.
Yeah.
Then you go to pick up a piece of wood and you're like, oh, that's why I'm not doing this anymore.
Exactly. I know. Or demo. I loved demo in the beginning.
You loved to demo?
In the beginning.
I never loved to demo.
In the beginning, you know what? Because again, smaller washrooms, bringing it down, stuff like that. That was fine. It was a one-day thing.
It was the discoveries.
Yeah.
I didn't like having to find magic.
Yes.
In the walls.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. You know, like I said, at the beginning, I liked it. Now, you won't catch me there. Not that you won't catch. I'm there. I'm there. Don't get me wrong. I like to help, but I can't. And it's not even that. It's like I get up off the couch after, and it's like I said, I'm only 29. Like I shouldn't be feeling that way yet, right? So I don't know if it's like I blame it on wear and tear of sports throughout my whole life. But maybe it's all catching up.
Yeah. But, I tell guys just stretch.
Yeah. I try.
Stretch is important. Pay attention. Women stretch.
Yeah.
They know what we're talking, and you never really see them creak and and stuff
true.
like that. But they stretch. They know how to stretch properly, right?
So we should get like a yoga class in or something soon. Just stretch.
Should
out
be
the
construction
back
yoga classes.
Construction
on
yoga.
The site,
that should be what we should. do.
Someone should do a construction yoga videotape or something.
Yeah, maybe
videotape. No, that's got to be a streaming, man. Nobody's gonna know what a videotape is. Eh?
You can make a videotape. I don't know if anyone can watch it, but.
OBC talk. There's a lot here, but I'll share some of it. Any idea on minimum area requirements of residential rooms? What is the minimum requirement for a living room? 13.5 meters square or more.
I was gonna say about 60 square feet.
I'm not converting this. This is metric to so. And then combined with a kitchen and dining spaces, you need to add a minimum of 3.2 to that. Okay. So if you're doing I guess big room, no load-bearing walls and things like that. So dining rooms are a minimum of 7 meters square feet. Square feet. 7 meters square.
7 meters square.
And then kitchens. What do you think the minimum area is for a kitchen?
Well, living room is
tiny, man.
Like you think like little galley ones.
It's like 4.2 meters square.
Wow,
that's tiny, man.
That's small.
I guess that's for all the high-rise stuff, man.
That's the thing. Like that's very broad, right? You go into townhomes or condos, things like that. Then that.
Well, these would be residential. So residential would not be high-rise then.
Oh yeah, no.
Would it? No, I don't think so. High-rise is a different rule. I don't know.
I think high-rise would be maybe a little bit different.
Yeah. What do you think the minimum requirement for a master bedroom is?
Probably like 5 meters square feet.
It's double. It's 9.8.
Really?
That's the minimum requirement.
I've been
or 8.8 meters square if there's built-in cabinets provided. Other bedrooms, minimum is 7 meters or 6 meters if there's built-in cabinets, which are your closets or what have you. And then ceilings. What shall not be less than what? Wow, really?
Just based off your reaction, I should probably say like 4 feet.
This is like built for hobbits, man. I don't get it. Exactly. Minimum required for a ceiling
like
is
6
foot 11.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's like a door height, man.
It is. That's door height.
6'8". Wow. Except for there's exceptions under basement beams, ducts, and they don't factor all that stuff in. But kitchens, dining rooms, living rooms, and bedrooms where the ceiling must be at least 7'6". These are short. Over at least 50% of the required floor area must be at least 7'6".
So that would main floor.
I don't know, man. I always had the analogy. I don't know who taught me this, but I mean, minimum OBC requirement is taking a full glass of water and putting it on the edge of the table.
Yeah.
Sure, it meets. Most likely, it might not tip over, but if you put it in the center of the table, it's never gonna.
No, definitely a lot serious. But it's minimums, right? Like
that's what it is,
and that's the problem. When you try to go over and above, then it also comes with certain costs in certain ways, right? And that's what a lot of other people, again, like back to the custom. When it's custom, you go over and above, so you're not teetering that edge all the time. Like you want to do it so it lasts, so it's the longevity. This house is going to stand for 100 years, and it's still going to look exactly the same. So it's a great guideline, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a guideline.
It's a good guideline to stick to, but I think we should all be trying to push for better, for sure.
I think that the government's come up with the OBC and these minimum required standards because I think that they want the majority of people building, and if you made it more, the majority of people wouldn't be able to build.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford it at that point.
Exactly.
And that's just the truth of it, right? So it works. I was going to ask you something, and I totally lost it, man. I hate that. How are you selling their custom things to clients? Because I know that I've always had the frustration where I care about what's behind the wall.
Yeah.
I know that you don't see it. I know that it's not red knobs on a wolf stove. I know that it's not like all this custom trim. I know it. I get it. All this tile, marble, mosaics, large slab. Like proper HVAC runs, proper even like recirc lines for plumbing. Like all these things that you don't see in the wall cavities. How do you sell that to your clients? It's difficult. It's a challenging, and it's an art.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely challenging to do that, right? I mean, I think it's more in the trust that I can build with them as well, because then they'll trust me. Like a friend of mine said, "You're so lucky you never have to have another job interview again." And I go, "That's completely false. I go through
every day.
2 or 3 a week
Every day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever I go in, so I think if I build that trust with people, then I go and explain the importance of, different systems in their home or why we do certain things, then they tend to think about it a little bit harder. And then what I'll do as well is I'll give them some research points on it too. So it's like, you know what, if you don't know a lot about it, I don't know what they do on a daily basis, just like you don't know what I do. So I'll give them a couple points on, this is where you can start. You want to do a little bit more research. This is why we do it that way. So this is why, some things could be a little bit more than others, right? I always say compare apples to apples and you're getting prices. And if I'm a little bit more, but this is why, like, this is kind of what I'm giving you. So make sure that, what's behind the wall looks just as good as what the finishes are.
Do they appreciate it? Like,
Some do, and some just,
they just don't see the value in it, right?
Some do and some don't. And depending on what it is, right? Depending on what it is.
Well, it's really funny is that, part of the segments that I've done on the shows before is like the most expensive part of a house is the foundation.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about concrete.
Yeah.
You're talking about a footing. You're talking about a concrete wall. You're talking about rebar. You're talking about hopefully it's straight.
Yeah,
hopefully the framer doesn't need a quick cut.
Yeah.
You're talking about that stuff. And this is all stuff that clients could care less about.
Yeah. But eliminate it and you got one of those houses you see where it just topples over, right?
Like halfway through the framing. Then you got the evening news, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's in important things like that, obviously, then clients they're okay with it, but it's maybe using one furnace over another or just different things that they don't see the value in it, which all I can do is educate people as much as I can, right?
Give them options, man.
Give them options. And that's what I do. Give them options. I let them research a little bit on their own. Because, if you're going through like a big reno, you should be doing a little bit of that yourself as well. I always explain everything. I always walk people through everything, very transparent about everything. But you know what? Like, you should also understand a little bit of what's going on.
Don't you love it when you're so nice to give them options? Yeah. Give them option A, B, C, good, better, best.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're like listening to you, but they're not saying a word and they've got this glazed look over their face, and then they'll slide over their tablet that's got all the Pinterest ideas, all the house ideas.
Yeah.
They could care less what you just talked about.
I know.
Make your house perfectly. And it's kind of ironic because now every client I speak to, Ecobee, and they want every single floor to within a degree.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to talk about 10 degrees differences between floors, man.
I know.
And so I want to see it on my app. So it's like, okay, so you do kind of care what's behind the wall.
Yeah, to a point that functions for them, right? On like their day to day.
A healthy home.
It all functions for them on their day to day, right? But like the things that they can see or show off, and look at the heated floors, or look at or being at restaurants saying, okay, we're gonna go home soon. Let's turn the thermostat up or whatever it is, and that's fine. Those are the things that make your home you and make your home comfortable for you to be in. So you have to respect that as well, right? So it's tough when you go and you do that, and then they care about the feature walls and things, but that's also very important to them too. So like I said, you just got to respect it all. So
it's a balancing act.
It is at
that point.
The patience for sure.
What are some of the things that you actually try to make sure that this is a custom development? So this is my project. I got a little fingerprint on this. What are the things that you like to actually put in the projects?
That's a good question. To be honest, everything has been fairly unique. I don't really do too many things twice because I try to talk to the owners and try to talk to clients and see what they want really and what they like. The custom for me is I can bring you different ideas. I can bring you different feature walls. I can bring you different things. When shiplap was big, that seemed to be okay. I did it for like 3 or 4 people all within a subdivision, right? Because again, it was word of mouth. I love this. This was TV. I did it for a fireplace. We did it for a TV. We've done it for a few different things. But just truly, that's custom development. Nothing yet
stands out.
No,
because you tackle every project and you figure, well, here I'm going to start from scratch.
Exactly, we started from scratch, and the whole thing that I'd like to say about custom is it's completely custom to your liking. So it's what you want, right? It's not what I want. It's not me coming in here again. I give suggestions, but it's exactly what you want in things.
But then we also fight that elephant in the room where I think I have yet to meet a client that doesn't bring this up: resale.
Oh, yeah. Here, everything's about resale, though, right? Like, it's always resale. Even if you don't plan on selling for like 10 years, the first
Chantilly lace the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I need to sell this one day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I hate Chantilly lace. Mm-hmm. It's not that I hate it. I just wouldn't put it everywhere.
No, and it's just like very overused, I guess, let's say. Like Cloud White was like 5 years ago. Everyone's Cloud White cabinetry.
CC40?
CC40. Like 6 kitchens in a row, CC40. I'm like,
I want the crown, the cabinets,
Yeah,
the drawers,
all the same.
table. I want the dog.
Shake
I want
the doors.
everybody.
Yeah.
CC40.
Stand there with a big paint gun and just keep going at it, right? Yeah.
Which is great, but I mean, please, man, you're a paint company. Come up
Yeah.
with other colors.
I know,
Try to sell
exactly.
other colors.
But you know what? It's a lot of social media now too, and what's
100%.
popular, right? So
100%,
when
yeah.
you go in, like there was a span where I did 5 washrooms, and it all had like that Carrera marble tile. So I took photos of all these washrooms to post website and things like that, and I'm like, you can't tell the difference from project 1 to project 5. I go, they all look exactly the same, other than the sizes of the walls or whatnot, but it was all exactly the same. But it's what client wants, and you know what? I try to give them different
resale.
option.
It's gonna sell.
It's clean. That's what it is. They want to sell. I try to give a little bit of both. I'll give them some guidance on, I'm still a believer of 1 bathtub in the house. Kids, pets, whatever it might be. Minimum one bathroom. Doesn't matter where it is. Basement,
sure.
whatever, at least 1 bathtub, right? Keep it in there for that. A lot of people now, they seem to not care about it. So on a resale standpoint, I think that's important. That's kind of one thing that I'll...
Heated floors are a must nowadays.
Heated floors are a must.
It's funny. When I got started, that was like the ultimate luxury item.
Oh, yeah, I know.
What's it going to cost? Well, sell your car and then we can probably make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's reasonable now.
It is. And, I think Schluter had made it a little bit more reasonable too, because, a lot of us are using the Ditra anyways for the floor. Yeah. So now just going Ditra heat. It's really the cost of the cable, right? It costs the cable, the thermostat. And in the grand scheme of a reno or something now, it's not what it used to be anyways.
It's the one thing that hasn't really, and I think Europe, and I'm looking forward to speaking to in Belgium there when we do the Zoom call, towel warmers.
Towel warmers, yeah.
They're all ugly. But the European ones...
Pipes everywhere.
They look like...
they're grates, right? It's just like grates every few inches.
But they're not attractive looking. Like, no. I don't get why someone hasn't figured out a way to make it look cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
You know what? I don't know. But like, how about barbershops? Barbershops have it like where they do like the steam towel, or they'll put their steam towel on your face. Why don't we just do something like that? You build it in nicely.
I love that.
Right? Fantastic. It's nice. It's a warm towel you're going to have after your shower, right? Like, if you put the towel at the top, then I guess the rest of the pipes will warm it. But what about if it's the towel on the bottom rack? Then nothing's getting warm at that point.
You bring up a barbershop. This is funny. There was a job that I was pitching. And a lot of ladies, when you start doing that master suite and you want to have hers, the ladies will always talk to you about, I need a makeup stand, I need a makeup table, I need a makeup section, something, right? And I was having this conversation with them, and all of a sudden the wheels were spinning, and I just started saying, well, listen, if you want, I can actually put a barber's chair right here.
Wow, that's cool.
And he was loving it.
Yeah.
She was hating it.
Really?
And I started picturing this bathroom with a barber's chair in it. And then everywhere I was going, I was traveling quite a bit that year. I was like seeing barber's chairs everywhere. And I was like, I got up, and I have yet to do it.
Yeah.
I have yet to do it, but I'd love to put a barber's chair because it swings all the way around.
It does.
It's the perfect height for a makeup area.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool idea.
It even reclines when you need it to, right?
Exactly.
Has a footstool headrest. I don't know what the argument was,
really. Well, he loved it.
Yeah.
She hated it.
Fair enough.
And then I started thinking, so if he wants a clean shave and she knows how to use a straight razor, the marriage has got to be
dicey. I was going to say, dicey.
Otherwise, it just becomes a whole horror movie at that point, right? But I think a barber's chair in a master suite makes a lot of sense. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about.
If there's a room, I tend to be a little bit
No, it's got to be a large enough
room,
master suite.
For
It can't be a minimum code or whatever.
No, exactly.
But you just start thinking about those ideas because, sure, ladies like to have these makeup areas. They like to have individual, then the water closet's the other thing.
Yeah.
And now the big thing I'm seeing is that a lot of women prefer doorless showers.
Yes.
Which I agree. It's curbless.
Yep.
And curbless is a must in every shower. I don't care. You figure out how to reframe everything, get it done. That's it, all it is.
Agreed.
But I think that doorless showers should be a must.
Yeah. I didn't put one in my house when we did it, and it was just standard. It was 5 feet.
Are you cold? Because I don't have one like that. But
no,
it's not cold.
We have a rain head that an arm that comes out, so we have the rain head, and I'm not cold.
And there's no cold air coming from the rest of the room?
Not really. It's not like a massive washroom by any means. It's probably like about 70 square feet, just a main washroom that we have. So no, not really, not cold. The fan's going, that's still fine. Sometimes you get a little bit of mist, but we have a bath mat down, so that's fine. No, it's nothing. So I've installed a few that way. I'm like, why do you need the door? Especially if they're bigger too. Like you don't need the door, right? So
you don't. Shower door companies want to sell you a door.
Yeah, for sure.
More glass, right?
More square footage.
I mean, I started thinking, yes, great. Then you just tell the client, you'll actually save money by not putting a door here.
Yeah, when it's just one piece.
One piece of glass and just put it here and that's it, done.
Agreed.
If it's in an alcove or a corner or whatever, it's just 2 pieces of glass.
Agreed.
No door and you walk right in. You just got to figure out, exactly where the heads are going to be. because of that overspray.
Exactly. So that's what it was. We mapped it out. Like we knew that's what we were doing. So I always knew. The only thing I would have liked to have done is move like the mixing valves over to a point where we could reach it, as opposed to like that whole one arm.
I've always done that. And one trick that a client of mine taught me, and I was really respectful of it. I was like, this is great. I was a huge fan of, I still am, of Kohler's DTV system.
Oh yeah.
So he had me put one by the vanity and one inside the shower.
Oh, wow.
So you don't even have to put your hand inside the shower to turn it on. You turn it on at the sink when you start brushing your teeth or you're shaving outside. You start running the water, then you go into the shower and it's all red. And I was like, and all it was is just one more DTV console, which is, I think, retail price 150 or 160 bucks, and the cable. The Cat 3 cable. They still use Cat 3 cable, which is phone wire.
Phone wire,
and you just run that.
Really?
And because the actual DTV manifold has 2 ports for 2 lines. So they've designed it so you could put 2 modules.
That's very smart.
And I think, and I've always done that. In the last 3, I did that. I was like, no, this is smart. I need to put one here. So you turn it on here. You never have to worry about putting your hand and getting all wet with cold water before it, right?
Yeah. And then because, so is there temperature controls on there already? Yeah. So temperature's all set and everything.
You can preset it.
That's fantastic.
So you can do it for 3 people.
A genius. I love it.
So I'm like, this is great. And then you could just hit it. And so you could put 3 heads on it. Temperature preset. It's brilliant, man.
I love it. Yeah, that is. That's brilliant.
The next one. So I really want people to design a better towel warmer.
Yeah.
I mean, heated floors are a must.
Yeah.
And then mine, I think personally, is heated toilet seats, man.
Yeah.
I think every client should just be requesting it. Just eat it. Take the cost. I don't care that costs $1,000.
Yeah.
You can buy a cheapy one if you want from Amazon. I don't recommend it. Get a proper one. But I think heated toilet seats, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Hey, listen, early in the morning, and especially with the weather coming up,
winter.
It was what day last week? I wasn't even ready for it.
You will spend hours and hours on that toilet.
Yeah.
It's just like
100%.
Everybody will
be warm.
It.
If your feet are warm, why wouldn't you? Right? Like why? It's just, it makes sense.
To me, it makes sense, man.
No, I agree. I like that.
So I'm trying to think custom closet. I mean, I don't like prefab. I'm not knocking IKEA or anything, but I think that when it comes to a closet, you should, like you said at the beginning of the show, it's the customer you're building for.
Exactly.
Find out which bedroom it is. Find out if it's for a kid, a child, or find out if it's for the master, and find out, okay, so, how many long dresses, coats, short jackets, shirts, whatever, and start building that closet for the people that live there.
It's for the person. Like making your home should be the most comfortable place that you're going to be. Yes. I think spend a lot of time there, work and home, right? Like, so why wouldn't we go that extra mile and really just meet people and go into their day-to-day lives and see what they truly need? So that's what I like. That's the custom. That's everything else. But
what are some of the trends that you're seeing, Cam?
The trends
these days. I mean, outside of I trust me, I've seen that tile.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
And when you don't see the natural version of it, you see the porcelain version.
The porcelain, yeah. And it was a lot of the porcelain version, right? Like that's what it is. A lot of that. It's a lot of light floors, white walls, natural wood islands, things like that. Because before it was like the blue islands, doing blue everywhere, right? Like this looks great for now, right? But what's that going to be? Whereas I'm finding just a lot more natural tones. But I'm a fan of like the natural tones, a little bit of that concrete look with the natural woods, right? Like I
totally dig
industrial, modern industrial type of look.
I like that.
Yeah. So I think. A lot of the work that I have, a lot of things that I've shown, people are kind of just coming to me with that because that's what they see that I do and they like it, think I do it well, right? So as far as the trends, that's what I've been coming across for now.
I was having a conversation about an all white, like tassels, beautiful sparkly stone for anybody who doesn't know what tassels or anything like that. It's not the Avengers. And then it was all going to be black fixtures. That's the whole trend the last 5 years or whatever. Yeah. And finally, Schluter paid attention. Now they have black features as well.
They do.
The drains and stuff like that. And but then I started saying, I don't know, and I get this feeling that black fixtures are on their way out.
You think?
I'm getting a sense. I'm just like a spidey tingly kind of sense that they're kind of. And so the client, I mentioned that passing, and the client said, "Well, what else were you looking at?" Sure enough, they go through the selects and they're looking at the catalog, and they point right to rose gold. And I was like, "Really?" Oh yeah, so we went from a Toyota, and now we've gone to a Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
rose gold.
It's
is
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Listen,
it's timeless.
Fantastic.
And it won't look gaudy.
No.
And it'll last.
It's tastefully done. Like it's a tasteful.
But it's ridiculously expensive. And now
is.
You're talking faucets, toilet lever to match.
I know.
Shower, how many heads?
Yeah.
The tub, Roman bath. It's like the most expensive finish.
I know, always.
But it's beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous. I mean, I really like. We tried in our own place, and I was like, hey, "Listen, come on, come on, let's don't." Let's
Did
not
you bring one
kill
into the
whole
house just
budget
to
here.
kind of see what it was going?
Oh no, because if I brought it in,
It's staying.
it's staying, right? So the best part was let's just go to the showrooms and not bring it in, right? So, but no, you're right. Like,
But
the
it'll
rules
match
school, I
my
love it.
ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, no, that's the most expensive rules school you get. Yeah, no, that's it is. That's nice. I like it.
I just because I'm always trying to pay attention to what's going on, and I know that. Listen, majority of the work that I do and I've done before, polished chrome.
Yeah, polish.
And it works,
That's
right?
standard,
And if
right?
it's not polished, it's brushed. You'll
Yeah.
get a brushed nickel or a brushed stainless
Yeah.
or something like that, which is great as well too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like black is nice, but for some weird reason, I think black is on its way out. I'm not trying to make it on its way out.
Whatever's black stands out. Even on trim, right? Black door handle, the hinges are going to be black. If that door's open, everything's white. Now, all you're seeing is hinges. Now, should you want to see the hinges? If it's just those standard,
If you're a trim
3-inch
guy,
round.
you want to see all the hinges.
If you're a trim guy, you are. And there's some really nice ones, big, whatever. Like you can get into a bunch of different styles. But if it's just your standard one, do you want to see that? So I think black, it's very in your face. Whereas like where the rose gold, it's subtle. Like if you're passing by it quickly, you may not even see it. But to the corner of your eye, sometimes you see a little glimpse of that shine or what it might be. So
I kind of just go back to the old houses. When you look at certain houses, the way, I mean, that was my mindset when I was dismantling a 100-year-old house and I was dismantling, demoing wainscoting.
Yeah.
It was poplar.
Yeah.
It wasn't MDF, right? So then I always, when I can, push for poplar to build wainscoting. But
for sure.
I understand it. Most guys will just look at me going, "You're an idiot," right? And I'm like, I get it, but the thing is, that's the way it was built. And I still think that even when you paint it, you'll get a hint of the grain.
For sure you do.
You'll get a different feeling of that wood versus MDF. It kind of just, I mean, MDF gives you, if it's painted properly, prepped properly, it'll give you a nice, clean, perfect, it's all done. But I'm a wood guy, so I want to see a little bit of earth there.
I guess just depending on the finishes that you want to see, right?
Yeah.
Like I like it. Like I said before, I'm a wood guy. I like to see tones and things. Like I like to see that as opposed to the painted look. Comes down to preference, but hopefully we get to keep a little bit more natural.
Do you see the dynamics between if you got a husband and wife and you're speaking to them, presenting to them?
Oh yeah.
Where do the guys go and where do the girls go?
Well, one goes to the finishes. Like wife usually tends to go to the finishes, and husband is more the practicality, right? So like when I start talking about like you're saying for A, B, and C levels of what's behind the walls, that's where like they try to listen, and that's where they want to kind of listen into. And then with generally the wife, it's all, this is the finishes, this is what I want. But you know what, I find that's mainly just because if I ask the wife or the husband who has Instagram and who has Pinterest, almost more times than not, it would be the wife.
Yes.
That's right. Whereas the husband's like, no, I have had Facebook and I haven't gone on in 10 years kind of thing. And so that's what I get. Right. So I mean, it's more natural for that. But when we do go shopping or when they're doing things and it's in front of them, then you start to see them making a little bit of decisions together.
Well, because the numbers start getting attached to the images now.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Right. But at the end of the day, I think happy wife, happy life is what they tell
100%.
me too. So
but I mean, it's
funny
how expensive stone can add up. Like, and you start thinking, it's not that much. It's just the accent wall. It's just a backsplash. And then you're choosing a $50 square tile.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's just 100 square feet.
Well, and it's a prep work that goes into it too, right? Depending on what you're doing. It's they see a finish, but they don't know a lot of the prep work that's in behind it. But I think it starts off one way and then the other, but then as the project goes on, but I try to make it a point of like, we're all still, I mean, obviously they're a team, but I try to make it that we're all a team and we need to touch bases on everything to get a full understanding of what's going on. And it just makes it a lot smoother. I don't want one coming in saying something, then the other, but somebody else coming in saying another, and right? Like that's just, everybody should be on the same page.
At the beginning, Cam, are you blunt with, okay, what's the budget here, guys? Let's what's the realistic budget?
I wasn't before.
Okay.
Maybe that was just a little bit on me, a little bit nervous, a little bit,
everybody
still
in construction is
new,
always
right?
cautious about speaking about numbers. Money.
Yeah. Now I try, right? Not to waste their time, not to waste my time. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of work goes into giving prices. A lot of work goes into it. And when I ask price and I ask what they think a realistic timeline is going to be. Like for a 3-piece washroom, I've had somebody tell me, it should be, what about a week? On, when you're watching it, yeah, sure. It's, 30 minutes. So you think it's a week,
demo
right?
and completion,
I
a week.
have people come down to a week on me. And I'm like, the fastest I've done a 3-piece is 13 business days. Like, I don't know any faster way to do it.
That's pretty fast. 13
But
business days.
it was, it's good. But that was when I was doing a lot of the work. So I didn't have those like leeway
So you
with
didn't have to
having a
wait.
trade coming in.
Exactly.
There was, I was coding in the morning and then tiling in the afternoon and whatnot. So that's
Did
how
you
I was
ask them
able
where
to-
they got the week from?
No, like some people, they just come up with, they're like, oh no, I just thought, based off what we see or what we're doing research on. Well, that's like when you ask somebody what they think the average price is and they go on Google and, the average price, there isn't. So when they Google a lot of the things, it varies, right? Like, okay, your square footage on your floor, like, oh, well, average square foot to tile a floor, I've seen like $3, but it's gone all the way up to 22. Like, okay.
Were there pairs on that tile, or what's going on here?
No idea.
Fruit?
But if you
A
bring
whole
it up, if you
basket.
just do a quick Google search of like average square foot price, Ontario, this, and like, because I did it just to see where people were getting these numbers from. I'm like, I don't know.
We should just start a Wikipedia page.
We should.
And start putting some realistic numbers.
We
there,
should.
Right?
We should do something for people.
Somebody's
just so at least
putting
they're-
some like ridiculous numbers out there, man.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
should.
who's doing this.
I think so. But no, now I've started to ask, just so we're all on the same page. Like I said, the more transparent I find you are right off the bat, the more trust that you can build with everybody, and then just the easier the whole process goes. So I'm not out to gouge you. You tell me, 100 grand, 150 grand, I'm going to tell you, and you see my pricing anyways, or you see I leave allowances. Like I let people really play with their own budget on things. So I'll leave you the average square footage price on the finishes. You spend more, it's more on the budget. You spend less, it's less on the budget. So that's how I give them the freedom of working within the budget as well. What's behind the walls, I won't compromise on. Right? There's obviously different ways of doing things to save a little bit here and there, but ultimately the house has to be built the proper way.
There's a double edge to that too that I really want. And clients listen to the show, right?
Yeah.
So they're quiet, but they listen.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, listen, pick whatever you want to pick, but there is going to be a price difference regarding installation costs.
Yes.
So all of a sudden you choose a subway tile, which
Yeah.
is pretty generic for a backsplash or for a shower or whatever, right? Now, last minute, flag on the play, we want to go herringbone.
Herringbone. Yeah. Too many times it happens. Too many times. Oh, we chose this tile. Nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I only ordered 10% extra, and now you want to go herringbone. So
Yeah.
I need 30% extra.
Yeah.
And then you want, herringbone, all right? Or stacked or 1/3. Or the moment you change so stacked or brick pattern, common pattern, fine. That's the price that I gave you. You start introducing herringbone, it's a different ball game.
No, definitely different.
It's
right?
like what? I don't know. I'm going to guess maybe 3 times as longer to install, if not longer, depending on how many cuts, niches, or whatever.
For sure it
All
is.
kinds
Oh
of
yeah,
stuff.
showers for sure, backsplashes, outlets, like
mitering.
anything.
Now they
right?
all want mitering on subway
Mitering,
tiles.
mitering.
Everything
I know.
mitering,
On a
right?
subway tile. I know.
Which is really tricky. Sure, it's a soft material, but it's also very precious glazing on it.
It is.
And it chips like nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like you have to explain and educate to the clients. Sure, pick it, but the install price is different now.
Yeah.
So be cautious of that.
Well, that's where I ask them, so I'll meet with a client, and then as I'm pricing it, I say, okay, you know what now? Usually they'll show me a couple photos once I'm there, so I can get an idea of what they want. And then what I'll do is, as I'm pricing, I'll tell them again at the end, send me what you like. Send me feature walls, send me, tiles, send me different things that you like, so then I can gather that. And then when they do send me that stuff, that's when I can kind of bring it up to them as well. Because if you go and start explaining, I found anyways, explaining too much of something that they're not too familiar with,
get lost.
then that's it. It goes right over their heads,
Yeah.
their eyes, like you're saying, glaze right over. They don't know what's going on. So I try to get the gist of what they want, but also keep it simple at the same time. And then that's how we can kind of start and get a good starting point from there. And then we get into the pricing, we work within the budget, and then we can say what's the need, what's the want with the budget. And then we can create that triangle from there and figure it out.
It's funny how it's like there's an ever-changing finish line to every single job. And fine, clients will meet us, we'll talk, they get the best gut feeling, and it's you.
Yeah.
We want to choose you. We've looked at 3 or 4 other contractors, and we're gonna go with you now, right? But it's an ever-changing. So almost as many times as you're willing to change, and you don't want to do it this way, or you want to add this, you want to do that, it just compounds and it affects everything. And now you as a GC and you're project managing the job, you have to shift gears and work on it. And then there's a cost associated with that. So you can make as many changes as you want client-wise, right? But understand that change it's not like, okay, we just changed one thing, so that means it shouldn't really cost that much different.
Yeah.
But we all go through that.
Always on a daily basis, right? We go through it during the projects. And if it's minor, I don't like to go back for every little thing all the time. If it's minor and it's something within the day, I pick and choose. If I can even do it, if I don't have to have my trades guys or somebody else coming in to do it, fine, I'll do it. I'll take care of it for you. Because because that's just the way I like to do it. I like to make them feel comfortable, and you want to give them what they want. But yeah, if it's anything over and above, like a quick fix or, a quick change for something, you have to. But I think clients also need to understand that as well, right? Because if their day-to-day job changes, then they would expect more.
Doesn't apply.
Right?
Man.
No, I guess to construction, it's just not the norms of business. I don't think.
You're here, you're custom, you're building it from scratch, and for whatever reason, maybe your skill set allowed you to get it done so quickly, or maybe your skill set allowed you to, it took forever to get it done. I mean, it's still custom and you're still working it. It doesn't apply to their career if they're not in construction. It's a different ball game. So they don't understand it.
Yeah, I think so. And because everything is so custom, there's definitely more steps to doing things and making sure that the quality is also there. Because not just the quality of the finish, it's how you prep it to get to that quality and to get to that end. So
it's a navigation. And I know that a lot of trades, they'll get into the business, work for somebody, try to learn the ropes, try to work for bad, good, whatever, the best. And then they want to go on their own. And they think that going on their own they're going to make pure cake. They're going to make all kinds of money, but they keep forgetting, you're also taking all the responsibility.
Everything.
If something goes south, then you're the one that's left holding the bag, right? Yeah. So it's like, you got to be cautious. You got to be careful. It's just basically, you just got to prepare yourself. That's all it is. I
think that's the best way. I mean, it's just preparing yourself. Before I started branching out on my own and doing my own stuff, I really had to make sure that I was ready. I had to make sure I was ready on all fronts. I had to make sure I was ready to take care of now, you go from being a sole proprietor now to incorporated and taking care of that whole other side. And that's just a beast of a business alone, right? Like construction background, you don't know.
Are you doing that too?
The accounting and bookkeeping stuff. So I do the bookkeeping and everything, but the accounting.
I gave that up fast, man. Yeah. I didn't want to do it.
So this is like my first real full year. I wanted to get a grasp of it. Again, you know what? I think it's the same as when I want to learn from trades. I wanted to learn and kind of do this. And, so I've had my brother, great on the Excel sheets, stuff like that, built a bunch of stuff for me. QuickBooks helps navigate everything. And then when it comes to actually accounting and filing, then I have my accountant that helps me out with that. But this year, I think I've got enough of a grasp where that's going to be the first side where I can kind of, you guys take this, because that's a lot. At the end of the day, that's a lot. And numbers at the end of the day, and you've been on site all day, and it's like you miss one decimal, one comma, and that's it. The whole year's blown up, and you don't know what's going on.
When was the last time you wrote a check? Every trade is e-transfer now, eh?
You know what? I wrote a lot of checks. Really? I did a commercial unit. It was about 13,000 square feet over the holidays last year, and almost all the trades were checks. And I guess because it was bigger numbers too,
That's
right? You're right,
50,000,
40,000. Those so checks came in handy there. If it's quick invoices, things like that, then some e-transfers. Yeah, for sure. So it's a little bit of both right now.
Nice. We're almost coming to the end here, Cam, but I want to share a little bit of Green Book talk. Access to facilities. Our good old friend, Honey Wagon, Honeyland, Honey, whatever it's called. Toilet, urinal, and cleanup facilities. The contractor must ensure that the facilities are provided or arranged for workers before work has started at a project. At the beginning of this podcast, when I started this, I heard way too many stories of guys doing number 2 in buckets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, shame on all GCs that are not allowing a toilet on site. And then you're letting guys, and I heard boxes, whoever was installing stuff, and they throw the box out, they'd go in and grab the box and number 2 into the box. And I'm like, no, man.
It's brutal. I've heard stories just in new builds, in subdivisions, things like in basements, in a corner, not even in a bucket. It's like, just you gotta have a little bit more respect for
put the gravel right over
at some
right?
point. Yeah, no, exactly.
Facilities must not be more than 180 millimeters horizontally or 9 millimeters vertically from the project work area level at which the work is being performed. Huh?
Yeah.
Faculties. I don't know. Is that what it said?
It's 180 meters.
Oh, 9 meters. Sorry. 180 meters. I made a mistake there.
Oh,
Sorry. A contractor must inform the workers of the location of the facilities. Yeah, of course we know that, right? And it better not look like a bucket.
Yeah.
The facilities must be emptied, cleaned, and sanitized as frequent. Yeah, so typical of the game is 1 a week. I mean, depending on how many trades are on the site.
Yeah, exactly.
And how big the trades are.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that second call.
When I see the concrete guys show up, you're going to need a second call.
I know if I'm bringing pizzas for lunch or something for lunch, I better give a second call.
And if it's winter. Oh, man, I'm still scarred by that, man. Frozen poop. The contractor must keep a record of the servicing, cleaning. That's the Honey way. Right?
Yeah.
So some of the nicest guys I've met are the guys that operate that.
Oh, for sure.
And I just kudos to them because they've got everybody share this on the show. It's like the worst job.
They do.
It's the worst. But we need that.
You have to.
Summertime and it hasn't been cleaned and you get that waft and
yeah.
you're like, what the hell's going on here?
I know.
And you're trying to figure out, okay, so who ate
Who did
what,
it?
who
Yeah,
did what,
exactly.
and all
Who did
this
it?
stuff,
Who
man.
went? Yeah.
Cam, what else you want to share, man, about the business? And I love where you're headed, dude. Much
Appreciate it.
respect to you, and
Thank
you got a level head, and you're learning a lot, which is great.
Fine.
And you're not afraid to ask questions, dude.
No, I think that was key. I was at one point. Hey, listen, I was even a little afraid to message you at one time, and I just didn't even want to message and stuff like that.
I'll reply
Well,
to
you know,
every single person.
You did, and it was fantastic. Right
Yeah.
away, you gave me all your information, mentioned at any time. It was
Yeah.
just like a little nerve-wracking doing that because you don't know what you're getting back. You don't know who it is. Okay, I can't expect everybody to be that way, and that's fine. You don't
Yeah,
want to
that's
give your
true.
time. So for that, it was good. Take it day by day. That's it. I'm trying to take it day by day. When new experiences come on, I'm trying to teach myself more and just keep moving forward, trying to reach the goals. So it's been a good year, and I just got to keep that going.
We're past COVID bullshit now, and
Yeah,
let's get back.
I mean,
to
I'd hope
things.
so. So
Are
I
you
can't see
nervous
it
about
going
next
backwards.
year and recession talk and all kinds of crap and see what happens?
Yes and no. You know what? If I keep putting my head down like I've been, I think if I could continue working during COVID and something that we've never seen before, and through a recession, I think it's just got to be prepared, right? Like, I mean, getting into the larger projects, things are kind of starting from now. So from now, I can kind of gear myself forward. So if I know I'm going to have kind of a lull in something, then I'll fill it in. And I think that's all we can do, right?
It's nice to
just keep
see all the
going.
commercial activity again, because I mean, for the
Yes.
2 years there was like next to nothing.
There was nothing. Yeah.
Which was really, really scary, because that's the infrastructure. That's like, there's a big chunk of us that work in the commercial
is.
side of things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And for
it
that
was.
to just disappear, literally like a switch.
It was.
And it's so nice to now see even this building here, like there's so much work going on, offices being built and putting together. And I love seeing the bin. Like, it's just like activity. I
Yeah.
love seeing
No,
that.
it's
So it's
good to see.
preparation for next year, which is great.
It's good. I mean, it means that businesses are starting to look at the next year, wanting people to come back in
Yes.
and, actually keeping them in the offices. I think that's just really good for everything. Being cooped up in the house for so long, working there and living there and entertaining there. Like, it's too much.
It is
It's
way too much.
Too much. in one
People
space.
quickly learned that they had to figure out their house better.
Yes.
They quickly learned that not being in their house during the daytime, they realized that their house is not actually a home. It's not a haven,
No.
right? And that's what was missing. So now they figure that out. But I think that residential is going to slow down a bit. I think commercial is going to continue, which
I
is
think
great.
so, yeah.
So you've got both sides. You're tackling both.
I tackle both sides. Yeah, I mainly do residential, but I do the commercial. Like I said, I just did an office space for a restaurant franchise. They just moved new office space, so I took that on. I did a couple of salons, barbershops, things like that, some showrooms. So I mean, I dabble in a little bit of it, but what seems to have been coming was a little bit more residential. So sticking with that.
But everybody that's setting up commercial has a home,
Definitely.
and they want to renovate their home.
On the commercial side too, I do mainly the finishes. I don't actually put the structures up, not as of yet. Like, it'd be a good opportunity for sure. But and when it comes down to finishes, I think it's really the same. Like, once you get through the framing, okay, you steel over wood, and there's
You like all the steel stuff?
steel. Steel is quicker. It's cleaner.
It hurts.
It hurts when you cut yourself, or it hurts working with it for sure. But
I could deal with a splinter.
no, like I've hurt myself pretty bad. I almost lost the use of this thumb on a steel stud when I was just starting. So I have a permanent stitch, and I had to stitch the thumb up and everything like this for 6 weeks, just walking around. Everyone thought I was just giving them props, but but you know what? It's quicker to work with. It's cleaner. So for a commercial space, it's good, right? But on the residential side, I think working with wood is good, even just on a finishing standpoint, like nailing into things and backer and everything.
Would you steel stud basement rental?
You know what? I do a little bit of a hybrid when we do basements. I'll do like a 3 5/8 bottom track, top track, and then fill the middles with
I've seen
some wood
that. I
studs.
like that.
Right, bulkheads. I like it because it can be a little bit more straight, and you get a long run on a
Yes.
bulkhead. Then 1 5/8 and run it all the way down and run your lines and
Yeah.
whatnot. So
Yeah.
it has its uses for sure in basements.
sure.
If I'm just going to finish a basement, then that's kind of usually what I'll do, to be honest. Yeah,
Nice, man. I think
Yeah.
we're ready for the 12 questions of
the 12
construction.
questions.
You got these, right?
I got them. I got them.
I'm giving them to people now because they started asking me, why aren't you sending me these questions?
You did, yeah.
I'm sending them to people now. But anybody who's listening to the show, they're familiar with it. You figure me, I would actually have them all memorized, but I don't. And I'm going to leave it that way.
Yeah.
What is your favorite construction word?
My favorite word. I like the progression. I like process. I like going through things. I like it being planned out.
That's a nice word.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite construction
Well,
word?
the opposite. All I've heard 2 years, delay. Pushed.
You know who
delayed.
loved it? Supply chains or supply manufacturers that had a lot of overstock of higher end material
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
because it flew off the shelf because people would just buy and spend the extra money.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you had to. That's all it was there. It's
That's
either
all
that
it was there.
or wait. You know, we're going to tell you 6 weeks now, but it's going to be
That would
12
have
by the time
been a
it's
good
done.
time for Rose Gold.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been. Yeah. Let's go back to the rose gold. Let's bring it.
What turns you on in construction?
Everything.
Really?
You know what? I love what we do. I love what we do. It's great. I love seeing different stages. I love seeing the structural stages. You first frame a house, you walk in, you get to see all that. I love when clients get to see the drywall stage because that's really when they can kind of see what's going on, what's happening. Love the finishes coming together. I like what I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
What turns you off in construction?
A rush, being in a rush. You know, I call a guy, oh, you know, sorry, I was in a rush, forgot to do this, forgot to do that, or if it wasn't done properly. It's like, I get we're all busy, but when you're there, be here. Focus on what you're doing.
I wish there was some app that somebody would design that would allow us to see people and how they react to your text when you send them.
Oh, yeah.
If they just look at it and ignore it and keep on walking.
I know, right?
I would love to have that screen grab
yeah.
and then text that screen image to them going,
That'd be the best.
hey, listen, dickhead, I just saw you. Ignore my message, man.
That would be amazing. Like your camera just turns on the front screen for
Exactly.
like a split second.
Just a little split second. And
I know. Talking about like privacy though and everything that's going on, that might be going to the next
No,
step.
that's crossing the line, man. I didn't come up with that idea. What is your favorite curse word?
Fanculo.
Of course,
Yes.
man. It actually sounds a lot nicer in that language.
Right? A little bit nicer. People don't know what it is.
It almost
It's
sounds
just
pleasant. Like I'm actually doing you a favor.
just a little handshake. Fanculo. Yeah. And sometimes I definitely do, right? So
What is your favorite vehicle? Anything in the world?
I love the Austin Martins, the Vantages. Really nice. Yeah. Very nice car. Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Fast, heavy.
Very. But it's different, and you don't see many of them. Like being Italian, like I love the Ferraris, whatever. It's beautiful
really
cars.
weird, yeah.
But you see a lot of them. When
Yeah.
you see an Aston Martin, and you really look back, and you're like,
They stand out.
That's a nice car. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
What's
that's a
your
nice
least
car.
favorite vehicle?
Probably like a Cube or something. Like those things. Yeah, the box. I think it's like a Honda Cube.
I think
or
the
don't know
guy
what
was
it is.
on weed or something with that back window wrapped around the corner or something like that.
I don't know.
Can you imagine if you built something like that, like a house?
People bought it. Like you see it on the roads though, so I guess there's a market for everybody.
What construction sound or noise do you love, Cam?
I love a busy site. I love just standing there, hearing the hammers going, hearing guys working, hearing the saws, just hearing all the different tools. That means just everyone is progressing. Everyone's doing different things. Back to that progression thing. Everyone's just doing what they got to do. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me, do guys still on job site boast about the color of the tool that they're using? Or do they just do their job and that's it?
Sometimes. I think, you know what, when there's good camaraderie, like working up north, we had a good
Friendly.
camaraderie with
Friendly.
everybody, right? Yeah, being friendly. We were like cooking at the fire and barbecuing and taking a break. And then after, hanging out and things like that. So when different trades guys that don't normally get to see each other are on site and they can create like that little friendship when they're there, then I think that's when the razzing comes in. A little bit of razzing I think it's healthy too. You know what I mean? Like being so serious all the time. A little jab or a little something. Why are you using those tools? Or how are you doing? How are you holding that? Right? I think that's good because it keeps everything light as well.
I agree.
So I like to see that on the guys.
What construction sound or noise do you hate?
The hummings of the palm sanders and the compressors on and just like all that
The
constant
sanders,
and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
I don't care if it's a Merca, whatever it
Yeah.
is, or a Festool. It
Yeah,
still has the same
it
humming sound.
hums. Whatever it is, it hums.
All
yeah.
the bees are hanging out outside looking at it going,
Exactly.
well, where is it?
Yeah, exactly. Just the constant hummings.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? That's a challenging question.
You know what? I'm going to say the culinary realm in the hospitality. I was a chef. I went to culinary school and I was a sous chef anyways at a restaurant for a few years.
I've heard it's such a cutthroat.
It is. It was a difficult
Some
industry.
mean people in there.
There's some great people. Can't say there's some
Yeah.
great people. You can have some great times, but there's also some cutthroat people. And it comes similar to construction. It's an industry of pennies. It's what are you doing with these pennies? How are you doing with this? Like, how are you going to try to make the most money? But it was also a lifestyle. And I'm very family oriented. I got everybody around me still. So at the time when I was there, I just couldn't do it. And I always knew I loved doing this. So that's when I came back into doing this. But I definitely want to get back into the industry. Little wine bar, a little something going on. Yeah, we'll see.
You got a particular set of knives that you like?
I use the Wusthof knives, the German knives. Yeah, yeah. So that was my set that I got.
Nice.
Once I graduated, I'm like, okay, time for a nice set. So
Okay, treat yourself, man.
that's it. You have to every once in
You
a while,
have
right?
to. What profession would you never like to do?
Probably something in like IT, computer. Like I'm not great. That's not me. Like I have enough problems with the printer at my house. Never mind trying to get into, getting into all that kind of stuff.
I hate
So-
the fact that I got a printer and it's got Wi-Fi enabled and
Doesn't work.
And I don't fucking use
Yeah,
it.
I try to print something, doesn't print. I'll leave it alone for like a week, and then all of a sudden I'm in the basement. And I hear it turning on, and it's printing what I needed.
I'm back
to
on
print.
Amazon buying a different one.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on here? So yeah, definitely IT, computer stuff, not
Office
for me.
stuff.
Yeah, office.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
Welcome. I'd like to hear welcome and well done. I think that would be good. That's a good way to be in there.
Pleasure, Cam. Thanks
Oh, it
so
was a
much,
pleasure.
man.
Thank you for having
Honestly,
me. I'm
thanks for
looking
sitting
forward
down
to,
with us and just talking.
No, anytime.
No,
Anytime.
it was great. It's great. And I tell everybody that's been on the show is that something you said has inspired somebody else.
I hope so.
That's just how it works.
They have my information
Yes.
and let me know.
Everybody reach out to him and at www.customdevelopmentgroup.ca, and his email is cam@customdevelopmentgroup.com, and on IG it's Custom Development Group. Cam, thanks so much, man.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Angelina, for taking care of all of this stuff.
Thank you.
I don't
you.
want to do it anymore. We are out of here. Thanks so much, Cam. I really appreciate it, man.
Me too. Thank
We're
you.
gone.